The field is finally set. No team has won 100 games. Nobody from last year's World Series is back in the playoff contention. So we have a wide open 2024 playoff bracket, and it's time to get to some predictions. Wild card and division round. Let's go. Let's kick it off with the number 4 versus number 5 in the American League. We have the Baltimore Orioles hosting the Kansas City Royals for the best of 3 at Camden Yards, with the winner going on to take on the New York Yankees. Now, the interesting thing about this series is the Royals have really struggled down the stretch. They had 2 7-game losing streaks late in the season, but the Orioles have stumbled as well. The Orioles' struggles may be in the pitching. Corbin Burns and Zach Eflin look very good at the start of the rotation, but who's going to fill in the 3 and 4 spots if they can advance? The Royals' rotation looks very good, set up with Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo at the top. You've got guys like Michael Wacha, Michael Lorenzen, Brady Singer. You add some of those starters in the bullpen in a short series, and it's really going to help. Offensively, there's no question, Baltimore is deeper. They finally have their lineup healthy again after struggling through the second half of the season. They have to get Adley Rutschman right if they're going to go on a deep run. But Anthony Santander has continued to mash the baseball. And if he can hit a big home run in this series, that could really flip a 3-game series. As for the Royals, Bobby Witt Jr. is due it all. Salvador Perez, is going to be just locked right in. The question is Vinny Pasquantino going to play for the Royals? He hasn't played leading up to this series. It's still a big question mark. If he does play and can play effectively, that's a huge boost for the Royals. But when it comes down to it, I've got the Orioles in 3. That would set up an Orioles and New York Yankees series in the division round, as the number 4 seed would advance to play the number 1 seed. This sets up very well in my mind for the Yankees because of the lack of depth of rotation for the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees don't have a ton of depth in the rotation as well. There's some definite question marks there behind Garrett Cole and maybe even Luis Gil. What is the rotation going to look like for the Yankees? But no question, they got Soto, they got Judge, and who else is going to help produce? Austin Wells has looked very good. Anthony Volpe has shown strengths and weaknesses. And who knows what they get out of maybe Ben Rice covering for Anthony Rizzo at first base, or Jazz Chisholm at the plate or on the bases. When it comes down to it, I think this could be a very deep series. I took the Orioles to win the World Series back at the start of the season. I'm not changing now. Orioles to the ALCS. On the other side of the bracket in the American League, you have Houston hosting the Detroit Tigers. That is still really weird to say. The Detroit Tigers have played incredible baseball the last month and a half, snuck into the playoffs after the Minnesota Twins completely and totally collapsed, and have set themselves up with a very interesting series with Houston. Now, the thing with the Tigers, they've got the ace. They've got Tarik Skubal. After that, who knows who's going to pitch for the Tigers? Montero, Mays, Olsen, all kinds of guys in that back end of the rotation and in the bullpen. There's going to be a lot of mixing and matching for the Tigers after Tarik Skubal. They have that ace. And offensively, guys are really coming around. Riley Green is becoming a star, as is Kerry Carpenter. Parker Meadows has turned it on. Spencer Torkelson has been better. But when you really look at it, look at that Houston lineup. They are healthy. Well, maybe. Yordan Alvarez is still a question mark with his knee. He is able to DH if he's going to play, so that does help the Astros a little bit. It's easier to get Alvarez's bat in the lineup if he doesn't have to play the field. Offensively, there's still Kyle Tucker, Bregman, Altuve. This is still a very solid Houston lineup, and the pitching staff is very, very deep. In a short series, it doesn't matter so much with the starters. Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Justin Verlander, Yusei Kikuchi, Spencer Arrighetti. They've got weapons in the rotation, but they probably don't need them all, as they have a very good bullpen as well. The Astros have been playing very good baseball for the last 3 months. The Tigers have been playing very well for the last 6 weeks. For me, this comes down to youth versus experience. I say the Tigers may get one with Tarik Skubal in Game 1. They better. Otherwise, it's Houston in 2. That would set up the Astros and that deep rotation heading into Cleveland, setting themselves up for a series with the Guardians in the division series. The thing about Cleveland is their starting rotation was not great at the start of the year. It has slowly progressed through the year. Tanner Bybee has improved. Ben Lively's been pretty solid this season. Very, very interesting series here. If Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor really hit the ball well, the Cleveland Guardians have a chance to go a long way because they have the scariest bullpen in all of baseball and have done it all season long. For me, this is going to come down to pitching. If Cleveland can get ahead, they're going to stay ahead. So I have the Guardians beating the Astros and setting up an ALCS with Baltimore. National League time, and it was just decided like a half an hour ago as I'm recording this video. The Milwaukee Brewers are going to get the New York Mets. The Mets have snuck in with the split with the Braves on the Monday. So we're Brewers and Mets in this best of three. Now, the thing about the Mets, I don't know what you're going to get from their pitching. They've got solid starters. They've got a solid pen. The question is, can Francisco Lindor show that he's healthy? He has the last 2 days to help propel the Mets into this playoff spot. Pete Alonso has a chance to make himself a lot more money if he can take the Mets on a real journey through this playoffs. The thing is, can the Brewers show that they are finally ready for the big stage? With this young group, very athletic, very active on the bases, this team reminds me a lot of last year's Arizona Diamondbacks. They've got a very sneaky, good offense. It's too bad that Christian Yelich isn't healthy. There's plenty of guys in the starting rotation. You just never heard of them, except for Freddie Peralta, and he has a chance to be really special. And the Brewers have a very, very good bullpen. In fact, maybe the best bullpen the Brewers have ever had in this type of scenario. So for me, I've got the Brewers taking out the Mets. That would set up the Phillies and the Brewers, and this is where things get really interesting. The window is certainly closing on the Phillies. They have got to win a World Series title this year or maybe next year, or their window really could close with age as their players deal with father time. So the young active Brewers against that aging Phillies lineup, but the Phillies have a very, very good rotation. The bullpen is better than it has been. It's still not great. Very, very interesting series here. And for me, I think this is the year the Brewers go on a run and get to the NLCS. Padres Braves is the 4-5 series in the National League. Chris Sale did not start game 2 of the doubleheader on Monday, which has absolutely shocked everybody because of back spasms. It's questionable whether he's even going to pitch in this wild card series. That makes this choice a lot easier for me. The Padres are certainly the better team. They have the better lineup right now because of all the injuries to guys like Austin Riley. The bullpen for the Padres is probably the second best in all of baseball behind the Cleveland pen, maybe behind the Brewers pen, but it is stacked. They've got 3 really good starters with Cease, King, and Musgrove. I really like where this Padres team is. The Braves have done well to get to this point, but their bullpen is going to be shortened because of the doubleheader. The starters are banged up, especially if Chris Sale can't pitch. The lineup has been beaten up all season. I have the Padres sweeping the Braves in 2 games and setting up the matchup that everybody wants. And that is the Padres and the Dodgers. And what a series that is going to be. The question is, how good can Shohei Ohtani be in a playoff situation? Completely and totally different type of pressure than in the regular season. And Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman behind him are really going to have to support him in the lineup. Because if the Padres can pitch around Ohtani and shut down Betts and Freeman, that really shortens the Dodgers lineup. Teoscar Hernandez has been decent. Max Muncy has been decent. Will Smith has really struggled in the second half. But the Dodgers are really loaded up on the top of this lineup. And if they can shut down Ohtani or Freeman and Betts, it completely and totally changes this series. And who's going to pitch for the Dodgers? You expect Yamamoto is going to pitch. Flaherty is going to start. Who's the number 3? Who's the number 4? Who's shutting the door with the Dodgers in the back end of the bullpen? You know Evan Phillips will be involved in it, but who else is going to be able to shut that door? I think the Padres are the best team set up to beat the Dodgers in the National League, and I have them doing it. My NLCS, Milwaukee and San Diego. You've heard my picks. Now comment down below who you have advancing to the AL and NL Championship Series. I will be back with my predictions for those series leading into my World Series pick as we progress through these playoffs. I really hope you guys are really going to enjoy this playoffs. It is setting up for a fantastic run all the way to the 2024 World Series. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Share this video out with all of your baseball friends. Until next time, take care, everyone.